Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I am not doing much production on the live cast, obviously, but wanted to see how the theme song would sound over the mic there. Hope your afternoon's going well. It is blazing hot here in central Indiana. It's really more the humidity than the heat, but still, it's 90 degrees and it's rough out there. Stay safe, stay hydrated. As the Boiler football team ends camp, well, they did it on the weekend anyway. We learned a couple things in the wake of the scrimmage. One thing we always learn whenever Coach Brom is doing a post scrimmage interview is that we're not going to learn too much, and that there was no difference on Saturday afternoon. But there are a couple nuggets that I took away that I felt were important. I wanted to touch base with you guys simply because if you're at all starved for Purdue information, I want to oblige where I can. So one of the big takeaways whenever you have a scrimmage is when something's good, something's really bad, and that was the case here for Jeff Brom's squad. The defense had been doing really, really well for a couple weeks. And in this scrimmage, the defense got whipped. Sounds like the offense beat them up pretty good. I don't know. I haven't really seen anything but a couple quick hit highlights from the Purdue football feeds. If you've seen more, let me know. Send me a link via Twitter. But Coach Brom called the problem mental busts, which I assume is just mental letdowns by the team, and this happens. It obviously happens when it's really hot. But guess what? The first game, I would say everything. I would point, I would guess that we're going to be in, high 80s, low 90s, and humid during the day before kickoff. Good news is first game's in the evening, so that'll help a little bit. Maybe the heat will have broken by that point when Oregon State comes to town. But the heat is something everybody's going to have to deal with, and it's something that teams have to fight through. I'm a little bit surprised to hear the defense doing that poorly, especially with another big takeaway that I had was that some guys are getting healthier. I guess the guys that are getting healthy, though, and these two things might go hand in hand. The guys that are getting healthy are not back to 100% and not back to playing at full strength yet. Marvin Grant, great news hearing that he's getting healthy. I think that's a big concern. If you're a Purdue fan, you really got to hope that Marvin Grant is healthy. Purdue's defensive backfield is going to need all the depth and help it can have, and having Grant there is absolutely essential. I think Purdue's cornerbacks are the biggest question mark on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys, we need all the health that we can get from a Purdue standpoint. It's good to hear Marvin Grant's back there doing well. DeMarcus Mitchell is doing better, which is good. I think he had a conditioning issue, had an academic issue. There are a couple things that it looked like, from what I'm reading, when I'm reading between the lines, that he might not even get back this season. But now it's official. He's back with the team. He's practicing, but he's not in very good shape. So that's kind of a 1-2 punch. He's an intense player. He's a guy that really, really creates a lot of energy. He's really important to that defensive front. He was reckless on his pursuit of anybody that was in the flat, and a lot of teams have taken advantage of Purdue in the last few years. If you're a Purdue fan, you've watched Purdue just get beaten up in the flat by running backs and tight ends as plays break down. A guy like Mitchell is super important in space for going and getting those guys, especially in this system that Purdue is installing this year on defense. One really, really good piece of information. You guys have been hearing me talk about a lot about my belief that the offensive line is going to define the success of the season. Trevor Witt is now practicing full, it looks like. That's huge. I can't tell you how big I think that is. I don't know if anybody else is thinking this way, but seeing Hartwig and Witt together practicing together was a big mental boost for me as a fan. I was absolutely very worried about 4 or 5 days ago. I was just thinking how pivotal of a season this is for Jeff Brom and how much this team needs to be healthy from the jump. To get a couple wins right away from Oregon State and UConn is absolutely essential for any chance of this team to get to a bowl. And if they were not healthy right away, if guys like Witt weren't going to be able to play, if guys like Grant and Mitchell weren't going to be able to play, I was pretty concerned. I'm really glad to see Trevor Witt playing. I think he's going to be immensely important. His veteran kind of way, his demeanor, I think is super important, and the fact that the offensive line is still pretty young, but they've got some game experience, which is good. That one thing that I've been interested in as I've watched the interviews at Golden Black were some of the guys who have transferred in, how they're fitting. It's good to see some of those defensive players, some of the guys from the South doing well. Seems like there's no real, this is a great thing, of course, there's no real chemistry issues that look like they're forming that I can read or see. I haven't heard anything about that. Of course, information is tough, but just hearing those guys, the way they talk in the interviews, they don't give you any idea that there's any friction, which is really good to see. Finally, one thing that I think everybody wants to know about, everybody's interested in, is who's going to play quarterback. And it looks like it's a three-man race in Plummer, O'Connell, and Burton. I honestly, last year I thought it was Plummer's job to lose. Again, I think it should be Plummer's job to lose. I wish Coach Brom would announce a starter. I know a lot of people disagree with me here. I don't care. I just wish he'd do it not for the. I don't give a damn about the media or anybody's perception there. But my whole thing is about giving the guy the reins and letting him go onto the field and be confident that it's his job and that he can go play. It seems to me that even if it is Plummer's job, that we're going to see a lot of O'Connell and we're going to see a lot of Burton. Sounds like Burton has really caught on to the offense. That's very, very good news. That's nothing but a positive to me, especially since Burton is so much different than Plummer or O'Connell. He's a lot more mobile. He's going to give wrinkles there. I think we could see him, even if O'Connell or Plummer are doing well, I think we could see him folded in on the fly just because his ability to create. One thing that I look at, though, and maybe I'm incorrect here, but it doesn't look like Burton's the biggest guy. And I'm always worried about quarterbacks who are in a run-first type of situation, who aren't big guys, just because of the physics of the whole thing. So that's just a concern. That's a sidebar. But the one thing that's really interesting, I think Jack Plummer was named to one of the preseason watch lists, and he's not even Purdue's starter yet. I think that says a couple things. Number one, it says Plummer is a very, very good quarterback. I've always thought he's a good quarterback. I always thought he has a huge amount of potential. I wish he'd stop throwing off his back foot. I see that as a recurring problem. I would love to see that get kind of knocked out of his game, but it's not gone yet. It wasn't last time we saw him anyway. But it also says that the media, he has gotten the media's attention just because some of the big numbers he's put up in different games during his time as a starter. That's about all I have for you today. Like I said, I'm excited. Oh, one more thing. Jack Ansel, the Aussie Rules punter, has shored up things on the special team, specifically for the punt team. That's a really good thing because he came in specifically for that. He's an older guy. I think he's 23 years old, and that'll be fun to watch. Like I said, having a novelty, kind of a rollout punter who's really not made to do that is never a good thing, but having a guy that actually is made to punt that way is a good thing. I think it could be a good wrinkle to have. I don't think it's going to be the thing that defines this team's success, but I would like to see one or two things just start being put to bed, and we're starting to see that. That's the really good news. We're about 2 weeks from kickoff, just under 2 weeks from kickoff. My brother sent me a screen cap of the Purdue-Oregon State game is now starting to show up on his cable programming view, which is exciting because it makes it feel more real. So I'm excited. I think it's 7 p.m. kickoff in God's country on September 4th. I hope to see you there. If you see me, say hi. That's about all I have for you. Hope you have a great afternoon. God bless you. Hammer down. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.